there, and welcome to Gaining Vision. I'm Melanie. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. Hit subscribe, like, and share. Communication is key. I think we've all heard this term before. But there's different ways to communicate, and there's some that are effective and some that aren't. There's a lot of things that go into effective communication. And it starts with understanding what the different ways that we communicate are. So obviously we communicate orally by having conversations with people. It could be on the phone, it could be in person. We communicate by text, by email, and even through nonverbal cues. So let's break it down and talk about what ways are effective. So obviously the words that we use are important. Using words that are not abrasive, that are not harsh, that describe the situation. All of those are important. Our tone of voice is really important when you're talking to somebody in person. Is it condescending? Is it personable? Is it relating how you're feeling? Is it monotone, like you don't care? Or is it passionate, that you really do care? Those all play a part in effective communicating. Body language. If you sit there with your arms crossed, you look like you're closed off, you're not interested. If you roll your eyes, if you slouch, all of those things play a factor in communicating, even though they're nonverbal cues. The best is when you sit there like this, you're so bored, you're not tuned into what they're saying. Those communication factors play a part. Now, when you're communicating, when people can't see you, it becomes a little bit tricky. When they can't hear the tone of your voice, they can't necessarily understand the words you're saying, such as when you're doing emails or text. This can get misconstrued in a lot of ways. So let's just, for example, say if you accidentally start typing an email and it's all in caps, you didn't know the cap lock was on, people may think you're angry or you're shouting at them. They may come across thinking you're attacking them. So we have to be mindful of that. There's no tone in your email. So when you're reading your email, you may take offense to what you're reading when in fact it wasn't written in that way. So communicating by email, we have to be succinct, professional, and not go on and on and on with opportunities that may be misconstrued. Get to the point, get to the facts, be pleasant, and you always put an emoji in there with a happy face so people know that you're trying to be light or happy about the conversation. Text is always a tricky one too, because a lot of us do short forms. It's funny, something as simple as somebody writes you text and you put K instead of OK. I think, are they angry? So people really have different misconceptions or interpretations of how you're communicating. With text, especially voice over, I speak from experience, it may type the wrong thing. So you always have to be very, very careful when communicating by text that what you're actually saying is what's being sent, because you can get yourself into a lot of trouble. I like to use the example, one time I was texting my printer for the charity and I said, I would like to order 1,000 brochures. Simple, right? Well, I didn't check it before I sent it, and somehow it said, I love you. Now, thank goodness my printer at the time was a lifelong friend, and he knew that obviously I did care, but he said, oh, I love you too. I'm like, what? And I looked at what I had texted, and it was completely not what I had said. I always remember that commercial as well, where somebody is sick, and she writes to her boss, I'm in home with a cold, but actually I'm in bed with a cold, and actually came across as I'm in bed with a clown. So you have to be careful when you're texting, when you're using voice text. Communication is also really important to understand, doing different types of communication. So there's different styles of communicating. So obviously people communicate differently and people receive communication in a different way. So if somebody is a direct communicator, they're going to state it how it is. They're going to say the facts. They're going to get to the point. Whereas somebody, if they're more of a supportive or different type of communicator where they may, be a little bit softer in communicating, may take offense to a direct communication. So understanding what communication style works for you and what the people in your life use will help you communicate more effectively with them. Using language that is easy to understand is really important as well. Not saying you have to dumb it down in any sense, that's not what I'm saying, but you don't want to be misconstrued, you don't want to be misunderstood, you want to use clear communication with one another. So we look at verbal and oral, nonverbal communication, as well as when texting, emailing, and communicating with others that may have a different communication style. All of these are really important to understand because we spend most of our lives communicating with one another. I always think about mothers, they always have the look. When you're a child, if you get that look, you know you're in trouble. They don't have to say a word, they just give you the look. And sometimes that nonverbal communication is key and can do so much. But are we communicating ourselves effectively? Are we being heard? And that's the other side to effective communication, is active listening. If you're not listening actively to what somebody has to say to you, you're not going to hear it. And their communication is going to be for naught. And this is where a lot of arguments and disagreements and hurt feelings come into play. So we have to be mindful of that. So active listening, clear communication are keys to be effective communicators. What's your communication style? There's so many other ones out there. Supportive, direct. Some people are very, very technical and they want analytical communication. They want to know the facts, they want to know the figures, and they want to understand all the technical aspects of it. There's also the type of people that are very personable and they effectively communicate in a way that engages people. And a lot of that is with leadership. So you really want to find your communication style, where you excel, and the type of communication that you want to get in return. Sometimes I may be having that conversation with somebody with how you misunderstood their communication because it came across that way, because maybe they don't know they're communicating in a way that's not as effective as they should. Having those open dialogues and communication may help somebody in the professional sector, in personal life, and being clear on each other and being open to hearing and listening to one another is going to be essential. So until next time, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, and share. See you next time.